I wasn't afraid of him, and he said some shit that wasn't right. I had to call him out on that. He talked about Farrakhan, Eddie Murphy, but he was down with the hood and did some stuff, but I wasn't afraid, but some of the stuff he was saying was not cool. He wanted to be a gangster so bad, and he actually came from a 2-parent home, good mother and father. So I interviewed Suge in jail, which was a crazy thing. This is when he was on crutches.
Right.
And, I got to the day room, and it was a wild, I always tell people, hip-hop is a wild place. And so this was the time when Suge, if anybody knows, he was married to Michelle. I don't know if people know that he was married, and him and Michelle. I
didn't know she was married to.
Yeah, they was married to him. And so I got to the day room, and this got to be 2000, 99, I don't know, somewhere around there, whenever Suge was in Mule Creek, and he was about to get out. And I got to the day room. But first, when I even got into the jail, they wouldn't let me take my notebook in. You know those little spiral notebooks that you would have with the little spirals in it? There was I could use it as a weapon. So I had to give that up until you leave. I don't know if you've been, I don't want to tell people you ain't been in jail, but I went into the day room, couldn't do that. So I took some paper towels from the, the vending machines, and they have paper towels over there, and I had the little number 2 pencil. So I was scribbling my notes that way. I got to the table, and Michelle was sitting there. True story. And I'm like, what's up? She's like, well, who are you? What are you doing here? And I was like, well, I'm the writer. She's like, I can't do her voice, but you don't look like no writer to me. I had the little little dreads. And I look more like a B-boy.
Yeah.
And then, Suge came out and we talked, and, he said, unfortunately, some really kind of provocative stuff. And if you know Suge, and he was dissing Eddie Murphy and Prince and just going off. Suge at that point, I think, was just on one. So, that period of the 90s, it's so volatile, with Puff and Bad Boy and Suge and me representing the West. And then,
Had Tupac died yet?
He did, yes.
Okay.
Tupac was already dead when Suge was in jail.
Okay.
And so,
yes.
Yeah, and then later, obviously, when he got out of jail, I interviewed him at his office. And that's the day he came out. He opened up his briefcase. I'm like, Suge, what's up? He's like, he had some diamond handcuffs in the motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's like, you can't put a rich nigga like me in, whatever he was saying. And I'm like, Suge, you better drink that Diet Coke because, he had diabetes or something like that. So it was ironic that he was so gangster, but he still needed to drink a Diet Coke.
Right.
And he had piranhas in the office and all of the blood red carpet and all of that shit. All kind of crazy stuff. This was when Death Row was on Wilshire.
Right.
I'm dating myself, but Death Row used to be on Wilshire.
Yeah. Okay. What was so did you have a close relationship with Suge or just that?
I think we were cool. One of the good and bad things about Suge, I think that he was cool with me, and I don't know if you'll see this, is that I wasn't afraid of him, and he said some shit that wasn't right. I had to call him out on that. He talked about Farrakhan, Eddie Murphy, but, he was down with the hood and did some stuff, but I wasn't afraid, but some of the stuff he was saying was not cool. And so I don't want to totally do that, but I still celebrate Suge as one of the greatest pioneers of black music and definitely hip-hop on the West Coast. Without Suge and Death Row, you know what I mean? And really Eric, probably, if you want to really get to the whole nest. Without Eric, none of that happens or whatever. But, it was a complicated relationship.
Okay.
And I pray for him, and I wish that he had multiple opportunities, I think, to go in a better direction about some of that and, just be a little bit wiser. Yeah,
right.
I'll just say it that way.
Right. What do you attribute that to, him dropping the ball? Just youthful ignorance?
I can't say that. One thing I'll say about Suge, a brilliant guy, good, actually a sweet guy when you actually get to talk to him. I think that, I think I'm not the first person to say this about him, is that he wanted to be a gangster so bad, and he actually came from a 2-parent home, good mother and father. I went to the house. So and I'm not, saying nothing that nobody know. And I think that once he got that power and that money, he went too much to the gangster side. We should have went to the, Barry Gordy side, right? It was like P, went to the industrial, the entrepreneurial side, building businesses, entrepreneur. He would have had so many fucking P got chips and fucking cereal now, right?
Right.
That's what Suge should have
fry,
stayed. Yeah, you don't need to be beating motherfuckers up and making them drink urine in the studio.
Right.
You could argue that he might be one of the most powerful if he had gone that route.
Oh yeah. If Death Row would have stayed on the course that they did, oh man, you know what I mean? I think even when I did the Dr. Dre, there's a famous Source cover where Dr. Dre is in a electric chair, right behind him, right
when he left,
left Death Row, and so I wrote that story back in '96. Shout out to Dr. Dre. I don't think Dre wanted to leave what he built, but it was so dangerous and volatile. I remember rest in peace, Nate. Nate said he used to go up to Death Row with a gun in each pocket because it was very active with the Bloods and the Crip situation. So I think if he would have stuck to the business part instead of trying to be, super blood, MOB, it would have been a different outcome. Because you see, obviously, how Dog turned out, Snoop.
Right.
You see how Dre turned out. You see how Daz is, everybody is we still going, and, everybody is whatever. And that energy that he put out cost him,
Yeah, we had Mob James on the show.
I saw that. I saw that.
And he kind of spoke to the same thing, because he grew up with Suge, and Reggie, shout out to the homie Reggie Wright. He grew up.
Reggie, what up, pimp?
Yeah. What up, Reggie's?
Reggie was in the parking lot with me that when I was interviewing Suge at the jail. So Reggie, me and him was in the parking lot.
Okay.
Me and Reggie met in the parking lot before I went into the jail.
Oh, okay. Yeah, shout out to the homie Reggie. Me and Reggie, we chop it up sometime.
Reggie, you're a wild boy though.
Reggie would say
Reggie.
whatever.
Yeah, you be doing some
Reggie
crazy
would troll a motherfucker.
Yeah, we did Who Shot Biggie and Tupac.
Yeah.
On Fox, and then I did another one on A&E who killed Tupac with Ben Crump. Remember that?
Yeah.
And so Reggie was in there, and Reggie's a cagey individual. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm holding court, standing trial. Why ain't I see you round back when I was down? Karma's on the way. What goes around comes around. Karma's on the way. There's nothing you could do now. You gotta pay.